If you've clicked on this video, then you probably don't need me to tell you that your ISP can see almost everything that you do online, even in incognito mode. If you didn't know that, then I'm sorry for the unceremonious breaking of the news to you just now. Feel free to pause and take some deep breaths into a paper bag. There is hope, though. I wouldn't come to you with such a horrendous problem if I didn't also have a rather handy solution. One which, given the name of the channel or website you're watching this on, you've probably already guessed. But we'll get to that later. First of all, we're going to go over every single thing that your ISP can see, what it can't, and why, then followed by exactly what you can do to stop it. You're already here now, so they know that much. You may as well stick around. For Top 10 VPN, I'm Callum. Let's get started. Some good news before we get started is that the ISP monitoring situation isn't as dire as it once was, thanks to the widespread uptake of the HTTPS protocol. You've probably noticed how most websites now begin with https://, whereas in years gone by, previously it was only HTTP, no S. According to researchers, 95% of the websites on Google use HTTPS, with those sites taking up 99% of browsing time. And that's a really good thing. But HTTP sites still do lurk out there. Now, let's get into why that matters and see how it can affect what your ISP sees. Firstly, the websites you visit. Of course, your ISP can see the websites that you visit. It doesn't matter what the website is or how you arrived upon it. If you use your internet connection to navigate to it, then your ISP will know. However, HTTPS mitigates this somewhat. If a website is encrypted with HTTPS, then your ISP will know that you visited it, but not what specific pages within it that you've viewed. For example, right now, your ISP will either see you on YouTube or top10vpn.com, but what it won't know is what video you're watching or what page you're on our website to watch the video. And that's because both YouTube and Top10VPN use HTTPS. On an HTTP website, though, your ISP would be able to see every single page you visit within it. And you can easily tell if a website has HTTPS because most browsers will display a little padlock symbol next to it. And honestly, in this day and age, and in my experience, most browsers will also give you a big, serious-looking warning that you're about to visit an unsecured website should a destination not use HTTPS. And while it is technically possible for your ISP to dig deeper and spy on you comprehensively using something called a deep packet inspection, it's extremely unlikely it would do that unless you were on some sort of watch list. And the pages you visit are probably kept secret, but remember, not their top-level domains. Search queries. And more good news, courtesy of HTTPS. Google and every other respectable search engine uses it. This means that your ISP will be able to see that you visited a search engine, but not what you've searched for. However, it will be able to see what websites you've clicked through to, just as if you typed it into your browser's address bar directly. And the rules of the last category we just discussed still apply. So if you go to Google, your ISP will see that. And then you search for Top10VPN. That stays hidden. But when you click through to the top10vpn.com website, then it's visible. One other factor to consider is that some search engines are now owned by ISPs. Yahoo, for example, is now partially owned by the US ISP Verizon. It's not unfeasible that the company could use its combined knowledge to track your searches back to you. It's also true that the search engine itself can see and log what you're searching. Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yandex, Baidu, they all return your searches to construct elaborate online profiles of you, which they can then sell on to advertisers. Incognito mode. As I alluded to earlier, incognito mode is not all that incognito. All incognito mode does is prevent the storage of your browsing history and data on your device, locally. Everything you do with it still needs to be handled by your ISP, and is therefore still subject to everything else we just discussed. Gross. Deleted browsing history. Much like incognito mode, the browsing history that you can access via your web browser is purely local. If you delete it, along with cookies and cache and whatever else, all that is doing is removing them from your device. Great if you don't want other people who might use it seeing what you've been up to, but useless when it comes to shutting out your ISP. It's already processed all of the requests you've made. There's nothing you can do. No takebacks. Private browsing activity. Okay, so what if you ditch Google search and Google Chrome and all of those other evil bits of big tech and use a respectable private browser and search engine like DuckDuckGo instead? Well, the issue still isn't resolved. The browser and search engine might not track you, but your ISP will still have full oversight of all of your searches and sites, just like usual. Again, it's simply how the internet works. If you use an internet service provider to provide you with an internet service, then it sort of needs to see all this stuff to function properly. Make no mistake, I still fully endorse and recommend you use a private browser and search engine, but it's important to understand where their influence ends. App activity. Finally, all of this applies to apps you use too. This is particularly important when considering what messaging apps you use. WhatsApp, for example, uses end-to-end encryption. This means only you and the recipient of those messages can read them. However, if the app does not use end-to-end encryption, then all of your messages and everything in them can be seen by your ISP. Facebook Messenger, for example, didn't adopt end-to-end encryption until early 2024. This is also a good time to mention that whoever your cellular service provider is essentially an ISP. Whatever company your SIM card belongs to will be able to see everything we've discussed already when you're using mobile data. As to how long all of this is stored for, it really depends on where you are in the world. Mandatory data retention, as it's known, is the period of time established by a government through which ISPs must retain all of their customer logs. And that period of time depends entirely upon where you live, but it can be as long as 2 years in countries like Australia and Poland. On the other hand, some countries like Germany and Czechia have declared mandatory data retention unconstitutional and banned it. Outside of mandatory data retention periods, though, ISPs can choose to store data for non-government related reasons, like profit. And they can sell this data, use it to serve you targeted advertising, or throttle your bandwidth if they think you're hogging too much of the network. So, we finally arrive at the multi-million-dollar question. Well, I don't mean to shock you, but the answer is using a VPN. They catch a lot of flack from other YouTubers and so-called tech experts, and while they aren't perfect, this is one scenario where they are 100% guaranteed to do a job. This is down to how VPNs function on a technical level. A VPN takes all of your browsing and app data and encrypts it, sending it off to a remote server. It then decrypts that data and sends it onto the site or service you're trying to access on your behalf. And then the process is reversed, and you're served the website or service you requested. And because your browsing is encrypted as it travels, using protocols much more advanced than HTTPS, even your ISP can't see it. You are, of course, trusting the VPN service not to look at or log it instead, but that's why it's so important to choose the right one. There are VPNs out there with transparent, no-logs policies that have been verified by external auditors, which are perfect if you're looking for having your browsing history kept truly private. I'll link to our roundup of the very best in the description to this video if you're interested. Oh, and in case you're wondering, using a VPN is totally legal in the vast majority of countries, so you likely don't need to be worried about that. Put it this way, if you're able to watch this video on YouTube free of censorship, then VPNs are almost certainly legal where you are. The internet is as bad of a place as it's ever been, but I really hope that this video has at least perked things up for you a little bit and proved informative in some way, and in particular, that you'll consider taking action and using a VPN to protect your browsing history from your greedy and nosy ISP. For more information on how VPNs work and online safety in general, visit top10vpn.com or check out the rest of the videos on our channel. I'll see you next time.